Tonight, changes coming to electricity rates at a time when the cost of living keeps climbing. Power bills will increase by 7% next week, and that's leaving some people worried about how they'll pay those bills.
Definitely, like everything's going up.
This morning when I woke up and had seen the comments and pictures and stories from friends and loved ones there, yeah, it was heartbreaking. I had to take a few minutes this morning.
Friends and family of evacuees watch from here as a wildfire incinerates parts of Jasper, Alberta.
There are about 75 teams in this year's Royal St. John's Regatta, and one of them works right here at Her Majesty's Penitentiary.
And the inmates are always asking us, what are your own, miss? What was your time? How did you do? All that. So it's creating the really positive energy in such a, non-positive place sometimes.
We're going to meet some of them coming up.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. People in this province will soon be paying more for their power. Bills are set to go up 7% on August 1st, forcing some people to make some difficult choices. Here Now's Heather Gillis reports.
Your power bill is going up next week, costing 7% more as of August 1st. It's because the Public Utilities Board approved Newfoundland Power's annual increase. Rates will go from about 13.5 cents per kilowatt up to 14.2. For a $300 power bill, it means paying an extra $21. Initially, Newfoundland Power asked the PUB for a 9.3% increase, but the board denied that request. And at a time when the cost of everything is increasing, some might have to make difficult choices.
Because in a two-bedroom apartment, I was paying like almost $300 a month. So even going up by $15 or $20 a month, that's taking food off my table and off my grandchild's table. So no, it's not good.
Same, limited budget. So
It's definitely like everything's going up. There's not much opportunity where people are saving money. So yeah, I guess it sucks.
What are you going to have to cut out to make up that 7%?
Probably Netflix.
Mohammed Abdallah with Connections for Seniors says any increase in the cost of living hits the vulnerable hard, especially people who are already struggling or behind on their power bill.
And then you have to choose, like, okay, now what do I have to sacrifice? Do I have to sacrifice my food or the rent or a medication that I'm paying for?
He's also concerned about how much time people have to prepare for the increase.
Meanwhile, there could be more power bill increases coming. Newfoundland Power has asked for another 1.5% increase for this year and 12% for next year.
Consumer advocate Dennis Brown is against the increases Newfoundland Power is asking for.
They're attempting to increase the profit from $48 million annually to $62 million. We brought experts in to oppose that increase, and we hope to have success there.
It's an argument people like Dave Mahoney would like to see the consumer advocate win.
Power rates are going up 7% on August 1st. What will that mean for you?
Hard times.
And what if there are any future increases next year? What will that mean?
Harder times.
Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
Wildfires have torn through the historic town of Jasper, Alberta. People in this province with connections to Jasper are anxiously waiting to learn the extent of the damage as fire crews there continue to work to save as many buildings as they can. Alberta Premier Daniel Smith says the fire may have already damaged 30 to 50% of the town's buildings. The fire moved in last night, bringing a wall of flame hundreds of feet high. Evacuees from the mountain resort town are waiting for updates. And like others, Pamela Power is watching from afar. She lives in Churchill Falls now, but is from Jasper.
I think I know like everybody's okay, but we're still, trying to connect with people. And all day I've been trying to reach out and connect, and just some people know some people, and just making sure that, but just like the loss, like the history. And like I worked at Jasper Park Lodge and I got my very first job there, and my dad worked for the railroad. Like there's just so much that's like gone now. So yeah.
Well, the Fish, Food and Allied Workers Union has a new president. And this time, for the first time, it's a woman. Dwan Street has worked with the union for more than a decade, and last night she was elected its president. She says it's important for girls and women to see that they can have a place in that industry. And she says she plans to bring them along as the union presses hard for change.
I don't think letters and petitions and asking nicely is working. We're not seeing the results. So, maybe we don't just need boots on the hill here. We need boots on the hill in Ottawa. We need to step outside the boardrooms a lot more, and we need to get our faces out there and let government know that we're serious, we're not going away, and there's only so much time you can spend asking for things nicely.
Now to some news from the courts. The Crown is appealing the acquittal of a Conception Bay South lawyer who had been accused of sexual assault and sexual interference. All charges against Robert Regular were dismissed last month after the judge pointed to a series of inconsistencies in the complainant's testimony. The verdict followed a 13-day trial at Supreme Court. Regular told reporters afterwards the case should never have made it to trial in the first place. The Crown is now appealing, saying the judge made a number of errors and is asking for a new trial. Scientists in central Newfoundland are trying to improve wild salmon stocks on the Exploits River, and they're hoping a new multi-million-dollar project will help. Troy Turner reports.
Spawning females and massive male salmon. The stocks look pretty healthy from this viewing room at the Surmounted Interpretation Center, but the Exploits River's salmon numbers are not where they should be.
The Exploits River has the largest watershed on the island. It has the most salmon. But in terms of its productivity, it's underperforming in terms of the available habitat. So the $1.2 million will be used over the next 3 years in collaboration with MUN, Dr. Craig Purchase and Dr. Sean LaRue to investigate the reasons why the Exploits is underperforming.
The money will pay for things like a water chemistry analysis, invertebrate sampling, habitat surveys, and tagging and tracking.
The Exploits River back in the mid-70s had populations of around 2,000. But with the Exploits River Enhancement Program that we've had over the years, we've had years where it's been 40,000 plus. So it's very important.
Nestled on the banks of the Exploits, the Interpretation Center is both research facility and an outdoor classroom. It's also a popular draw for visitors.
The facility is wide open. Our viewing window is open. People can come in, see the salmon. Our restaurant is open. We've got a lot of stuff going on here, and it's certainly one of the top tourist destinations in Newfoundland, certainly here in central Newfoundland.
Salmon work their way up the ladder, jumping and swimming through the constructed pools, and eventually finding an easier way upstream. Along the way, researchers collect data.
We, as a board, have huge dreams. We'd love to see a full education facility here on site. We've worked in collaboration with Memorial University on a number of different projects, including our aquatic ecosystem restoration project right now. And we'd like nothing better than to see a facility here that's got the capabilities to be a piece of something much bigger than where we are today.
Researchers and scientists will be back this fall to continue tracking and tagging salmon here on the Exploits. And next year, the plans are for their program to expand to possibly include a smoke wheel and some electro-fishing. Troy Turner, CBC News, Grand Falls, Windsor.
And the weather has certainly been warm for a good chunk of the island today, up across Labrador as well. We do have a couple of areas of low pressure, though, one in particular bringing some shower chances up across Labrador and eventually bringing those showers towards the island as well. Some of them just popping up there on the radar, heading towards, it looks like the northern peninsula right now, but lots of sunshine as well across the province. If we take a look at the temperatures again today in St. John's, they climbed 25 degrees this afternoon. Winds were generally out of the north. We saw light winds through the afternoon, and then they switched again to easterlies, and we've seen those temperatures drop a little bit today. And as we head through the next couple of days, a little bit of a cold front is going to move through and drop those temperatures. But those shower chances up across Labrador becoming a little bit more numerous, and they will as well for the west coast by the time we get into tomorrow morning. Most of the island will see some showers through the day, clearing just in time for the weekend, but we will see some more shower chances move in across Labrador. I'll break it all down for you coming up.
Every team that rows in the Royal St. John's Regatta knows the sacrifice that it takes to get a boat across the finish line. And that means practicing before work or after work. But for one crew in this year's regatta, they have the shortest commute of any team probably ever. And that's the crew from right here, Her Royal Majesty's Penitentiary. Now, if this is something that you didn't know about, let me tell you.
I am the cox of Her Majesty's Penitentiary, the second female team in history to come from the pen. Not the second team ever, but the second female team. So we've had a history of men over the years. We have a lot of female staff now, and they're all very, physically active and ready to set goals. So they decided they wanted to do it. They asked me to cox, and here we are.
I thought it would be a good activity for the summer and a good team sport.
I've been rowing since high school, on and off over the years, and I row with another team as well. But this is my first time taking the helm, and it's been an adventure.
Coats 57 inches.
Well, I do love a challenge, and they were up for it. They have huge goals, and they're very competitive. So those are all the boxes that I like to tick. With my coworkers, it's just a great, esprit de corps. And just the motivation, we're right next to work when we row, so it's easily done logistics-wise on lunch hours. So it's been fun and exciting and a challenge all the same.
It's been an up and down. It's been a struggle at times, but it's been good at others.
We're probably the only crew that gets to row past their work every single day. We have great, co-workers who cheer us on, and even the inmates when everybody's talking about rowing kind of thing this time of year with the regatta and stuff, and the inmates are always asking us, when are you rowing, miss? What was your time? How did you do? All that. So it's creating the really positive energy in such a, non-positive place sometimes. Amazingly proud. They've done all the hard work. We're hoping it pays off on Regatta Day, and we have so much fun. We laugh every time we go out, and they've been fantastic. So I'm very, very proud. I'm like a mama bear kind of thing. So it's been great.
Good job, boys. See you tomorrow.
Well, in other news from the water, it was a big night in the pool for local swimmer Chris Weeks. He won gold at the National Canadian Swim Championships. Just keep your eye on the 5th swimmer up from the bottom of your screen. There we go. Weeks swimming for the Mount Pearl Marlins, won gold in the 50-meter butterfly at the swim meet in Toronto, cheered on by his coach, Chris Roberts. Weeks' time of 23.77 seconds earned him top spot on the podium. It also set a provincial record for the event. He says he has 2 more events and hopes for another podium finish. Well, a full year and nearly 4,000 kilometers later, Justin Barbour has finished his expedition northeast. He left the shores of Hudson Bay last summer with the goal of trekking 3,800 kilometers through the vast Canadian wilderness, across Labrador and all the way home to Newfoundland. It's the longest solo journey ever attempted through northeastern Canada.
Winds aren't too bad. It's a beautiful day.
I've went and done trips that, have been a month, 2 months, 3 months, and I come back and a few things have happened, and I've been, away from home for a little bit, that civilized routine. But to go for a year, and I had a few resupplies where I had 5 or 6 days in communities like Shefferville and Inuit community of Tassiawak up there in Ungava Bay. Few moments in Lab City, but 99% of the whole year I was in the bush, just camping, living with the seasons, and it's nice to get back and take a rest. Yeah, the dead of winter is, it can get cold and snowy and not a whole lot of daylight. And where I began winter 200 kilometers north of Shefferville, we're getting up fairly north that way, and days were short. There wasn't really a proper daylight till about 9 a.m. there in the shortest days there in December and January and stuff like that, February. Then the days started getting longer, but 9 o'clock, a bit of daylight, and then the sun was setting 2:30. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to move. There was a lot of downtime in the winter, long evenings in the tent, just waiting for the sun to get up and get going again. But many days I'd only travel for probably 4 hours a day.
This is going to be a good test for my wilderness skills, my survival skills.
You know, I filmed the full year. And just like all the other trips I've gone on in the past, I'm going to use that footage to make a documentary. You know, this is footage that very few people will get to see. This is a rare experience for someone to go out and spend a year in the wilderness. So I know that it's intriguing. I've got pretty much every big game animal I could have seen along the way, other than the polar bear, and I could have seen them. But I got the caribou migration of the Leaf River herd. Very few people but the Inuit up there ever get to see this migration. I have plenty of wolves, muskox, the black bear catching Arctic char, massive lake trout, storms. So it's going to be a pleasure to get into it and edit it. It's going to be hard work, but I'm hoping to get a good home for it, and it's going to be good.
Well, this is how the St. John's Harbor looked this morning from our camera at the rooms. As the temperatures climbed and the fog lifted, take a look at the right side of your screen. There's a cruise ship hidden under the fog there. The Bolette and her more than 1,100 passengers were in the city today. They'll also visit Corner Brook, Red Bay, and Lancet Meadows. The weather will turn wet tomorrow. The weekend looks lovely. I'll have your full forecast coming up. some wild images coming out of Alberta. A wildfire moved in last night and has leveled parts of Jasper. Officials estimate 25,000 people have evacuated the town. Pamela Power is watching. She's from Jasper, but she lives in Churchill Falls now, and we've reached her on the Northern Peninsula. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. And can you tell me how you're feeling right now?
A little overwhelmed. We're still coming off of our evacuation from Churchill Falls and then the evacuation from Lab City immediately after. So we've had a week to sort of calm down here on the Northern Peninsula, but yeah, the news about Jasper is pretty devastating.
Yeah, so the evacuation happened last night. You woke up to the news this morning. What went through your mind when you realized that the fire had moved through your hometown?
Yeah, well, we've been watching that there was fires on either end of the valley where the town sort of sits right in the valley, and there was some concern that the fire was going to have nowhere to go, that it would just push through. And so this morning when I woke up and had seen the comments and pictures and stories from friends and loved ones there, yeah, it was heartbreaking. I had to take a few minutes this morning.
What are you hearing from your friends and family?
A lot of just their experiences with the evacuation, kind of how that went, some smooth, some not. But everybody got out from what I hear, which is really good news and comforting to hear that. But just knowing the people that live there, and I mean, the big part of the community that when I lived there was the arts community. So there's painters and photographers and artists that have one of a kind pieces of work that are going to be destroyed now. So like a life's work. I think I know like everybody's okay, but we're still trying to connect with people, and all day I've been trying to reach out and connect, and just some people know some people, and just making sure that but just like the loss, like the history. And like I worked at Jasper Park Lodge and I got my very first job there, and my dad worked for the railroad. Like there's just so much that's like gone now.
Yeah, it's devastating. You've evacuated Churchill Falls earlier this summer because of a wildfire as well. Your friends and family have now evacuated their homes out west. What do you think when you look at the wildfire situation across this country this season?
It's hitting home. A lot of the work I do is in the environmental sector. So we've, over the past 20 years, we've seen it increase. We've seen temperatures rise. We've seen wildfires increase. So I think we just need to be a little bit more proactive in our mitigation and adaptation plans for sure.
For people watching this who have never experienced a wildfire evacuation, what do you want them to know?
That's a really good question, because we weren't prepared at all for Churchill Falls, even though we were living in Alberta at the time when Fort McMurray evacuated. So I reached out to a friend in Fort McMurray and said, send me your evacuation list. So she was like, this is what you need. You need snacks, you need water, you need to pack a bag with a few clothes, take some personal items, your birth certificates, your passports, and try to take pictures of your home. So thankfully for her, like having her, what my children and I were able to sort of pull some things together, and you always leave stuff behind, but as long as you have each other, a full tank of gas, and some of the essentials, then that's all you really need.
Yeah, for sure. Pamela, we are certainly thinking about you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Just devastating, Ashley. Some of those images are just shocking to see. And boy, Pamela there has been through a lot, having to evacuate from Churchill Falls herself, living there, and now watching her hometown going through this. It really makes you appreciate the rain, though. I will say that.
Certainly does, yeah. And we definitely have a little bit of it on the way. For parts of the province. The thing is, the last couple of nights have been fairly chilly across the island as well, as we've been sitting under a ridge of high pressure, but the daytime highs were still quite hot. So let's take a look at where we were sitting overnight last night. So single digits in Lab West, only 4 or 5 degrees as you woke up this morning. And again, through low-lying areas through Central, single digits as well. Badger, another cold morning this morning. at about 4 degrees. The rest of the province anywhere from about 9 to as much as 15 or even 16 degrees overnight last night. Now, today, very different story. Temperatures climbing quite significantly. 28 degrees in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Again, Badger, 28 degrees. You jumped 24 from your morning low this morning. So we've certainly got lots of heat across the province. Still chilly, though, in onshore flow along the south coast. Southern Avalon, I should say. It's 14 degrees in Cape Race today. That's where you topped out. And you head to the other side of the province, Nain, at about 25 degrees this afternoon. Taking a look at what's going on right now, we've got an area of low pressure to the west. That is moving in. Some showers just briefly this afternoon have been recorded in Lab City and in Wabush. And we are looking at that potential for showers continuing as we head through tonight. And most of us across the island are going to start to see some of those clouds on the increase as well. Still a beautiful evening, though. Temperature is a little chilly, though, as you head towards Lab West, about 14 to 19 degrees. Head further towards Happy Valley Goose Bay, and your temperature still at 27 degrees. Another beautiful evening on tap again across the island as well. But again, still chilly, only about 11 degrees right now in Cape Race. So South Coast definitely seeing, Southern Avalon rather, is definitely seeing some chilly air. Now, as we head through tonight, those shower chances will continue to head towards central Labrador and then eventually the coast as we get through the overnight. Like I said, clouds on the increase for the most part across the island. Some showers will come with it as well, especially as we head towards the early morning hours. The risk, you'll hear a few rumbles of thunder as well. Keep that in mind. And temperature-wise tonight, again, another chilly one for those of you in the northern portion of Labrador as well as Lab West, single digits. Otherwise, somewhere between 11 to 16 degrees again. For most of the island, winds generally light, with the exception of coastal areas of Labrador. Your winds will be out of the southwest, gusting somewhere between 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. Into tomorrow, those shower chances will continue to spread across the province, even some periods of rain in the mix there as well. As we get into the afternoon, this will be the risk of some thunderstorms for central and even for the west coast, and this is because an area, or rather a cold front, is moving through, so that may spark some lightning. And by the time we get into the evening hours, most of us will see those shower chances end really through the overnight and into Saturday morning. And then again, by the time we get into Saturday morning, some more shower chances moving in across Labrador. Here's a risk of some thunderstorms tomorrow. Like I said, as that cold front moves through, we may see some embedded lightning there. I don't think anything will be too significant. We may see some heavier rain for the southwest, but at this point, we're just looking at the risk of some thunderstorms. And as far as showers go, the heaviest showers will likely be for the west coast, where we could see pockets of between 10 to 20 millimeters of rain. The rest of the island trace maybe 5 millimeters max. And southeastern Labrador, you may see some of that heavier rain as well. Temperatures tomorrow are going to be a little, well, much chillier than what we've seen today. Upper teens, maybe low 20s maximum tomorrow, with those winds out of the south anywhere from 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. And then up across Labrador, even colder though as you head towards the southeast, only 12 to 14 degrees. The rest of the big land, once you see those showers clear out through the day, it'll actually turn into a beautiful day with temperatures in the teens. Temperatures really warming up though as we head into the long range. That I will get into later.
Gaze Seeds has been a mainstay in downtown St. John's for nearly 100 years, but they're about to make a pretty big move right up the road here to this local landmark, the old Moo Moo's building here in Rawlins Cross. We'll let you know what they plan to do with the place coming up. Well, Gaze Seeds in downtown St. John's is about to mark a major milestone, 100 years in business. But this gardening go-to business is about to make another really big change. It's going to be moving from one landmark location to another. But before we find out where they're going, let's find out a bit more about the business. Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. So can you start by telling us some of the history here at Gaze Seeds? This business has grown and evolved over many years. Can you tell us about it?
Sure. It's next year is our 100th anniversary. My great-grandfather, Ernest Gaze, started the business in 1925 as a very small operation, and the business has evolved over the last 100 years into just being a seed company, to garden supplies, to giftware, to everything. So this is our third location, and now we've got for our 100th anniversary, we've got some amazing stuff happening for next year in another location.
And Jackson, can you tell us a bit more about the sorts of things people can find here? What do customers come here for?
Yeah, so obviously we have seeds, and so vegetable, herb, flower seeds, but we also want to be like a one-stop shop for all garden supplies.
We bring in, stuff from England, stuff from all over the world, really, if we can get our hands on it, and we're continuously looking. We've got our own grass seed mixture that my great-grandfather formulated, probably 80 years ago, and our grass seed is a huge thing. And so it's the business has gone from a seasonal business to a full-fledged 12 months of the year business.
How big of a deal is this for you to be changing locations?
It's a big deal. When we moved from Buchanan Street to this location, our foot traffic went, it doubled because people didn't have to walk the extra mile to get to Buchanan Street. So we got a lot more foot traffic in the store. Now we're moving to Rollins Cross. There's 5 times more people out walking and activities going on and stuff in Bannerman Park and stuff like that. So it's a big deal. And unfortunately, we have outgrown this space. We have 7,000 square foot warehouse space plus our store. Our online business has taken off like you wouldn't believe. Our wholesale portion of our business has more than tripled. We're trying to take gardening to the next level for Newfoundlanders, or trying to help Newfoundlanders bring their gardens to the next level. So what you find at Gaze Seed Company, you're not necessarily going to find at a big box store.
All right, Jackson, so here we are at the new location, Moo-Moo's, the old Moo-Moo's building. It's a big landmark location. Why did you want to come here?
Well, we've been looking for a while for a building, and we love the idea of taking something historical and revamping it and making it our own. So we did that with the Templeton's building, and now we're happy to have this opportunity to take such a cherished building and make it into a new destination for shoppers.
What are your plans for this building? The big question I'm sure you're getting, are you going to keep the cow spots on it?
Right. Yeah, everybody wants to know about the cow spots. We do have ideas for a more garden themed and equally iconic kind of painting to go on the walls. We're not just going to paint them over white,
And you already have a little sign there in the window signaling to the neighborhood that you're going to be moving in. What kind of reaction have you been getting?
We've got a lot of people saying welcome to Georgetown. We didn't even realize that this was kind of considered part of Georgetown, but apparently we've been getting a really warm welcome from the neighborhood, which is great. And the people who live across the street have been saying, oh, this is perfect for us. We have a garden in the backyard and we can't wait to just walk out on our doorstep and grab some fertilizer or seeds.
What about parking?
Yeah, parking is, I mean, no matter where you are downtown, it's a issue, but we're lucky because on the side of the building, we've actually got like at least 8 spots just dedicated for customers. So they'll be able to park there and just come around the corner and come right in.
And so you're gutting the place on the inside. This is an old building. Are you finding anything interesting?
Oh yeah. I mean, it used to be, first there was a Studebaker dealership, then a Ford dealership, then a grocery store. So we're finding lots of weird and wonderful things. We found an old cigarette pack that must be like 60 or 70 years old. We found old sardines containers that are way past expired.
And tell me about the window.
Yeah, on one of the curved parts of the building, we discovered that there's actually an original glass window there. So we're planning on bringing that back out into the open and having that as like a feature of the building because it's just so cool. It was just painted over and covered in wood, so we're really excited about that.
What are your timelines here? When do you hope to have this all done?
We're aiming for late 2024, so maybe November-ish for opening, but we're still going to be open for the full time at the Templeton's location until then.
Okay, well, good luck with it. I'm very excited to see what you do with the place.
Yeah, we're excited to have people come check it out.
Returning now to the change in leadership at the province's largest private sector union. Dwan Street has been elected president of the Fish, Food and Allied Workers Union. After working with the FFAW for more than a decade, she's the first female president. Street says the fishery and its union are changing, and her election proves that.
I think it's a very good indication of how our industry has changed, and the faces of our industry has changed. And I've said it a few times today to other folks as well, like, this is not my grandfather's fishery anymore, and it's not my grandfather's union. And I know plenty of women who are in the fishing boat, and powerful, powerful women. And, I've had their support through the entire campaign, and it's meant the world. But they have also said to me that it makes them feel empowered and more inclined to get engaged when they see somebody at the top who represents them. And, people say, well, why does it matter that a woman has been elected? But I think it does matter, because you're going to have little girls out there who are around fishing boats and, are probably hearing that it's not a career for a woman. But when they can see our inshore council members, our female inshore council members, our executive board members, and see the president as a woman, then they know they have a place in this industry. And I think that's very important as we go forward.
Does it suggest there's been a change in the membership, in the way they see the leader of their union?
I'm not sure. I've been asked the question about how it's been the last 10 years in a male-dominated industry, but there have been very few times when I haven't felt like an equal. And everybody on our executive board and our councils have always treated me like an equal, and I've always felt nothing more than respect. And I think we're seeing much more inclusion in the fishing industry, and the fact that our membership have put their faith and support behind me, I think it does show that the fishing industry might be a bit more inclusive than a lot of folks tend to think.
Do you see this union as becoming more militant, or, where do you see it going?
Absolutely. I'm a strong believer of grassroots unionism, and some of the moments that made me, when I was younger, want to work with the FFAW was seeing the waterfront full, seeing crab pots go up flagpoles with the fight with RMS, and seeing the power that the union had. And I think a lot of that has been lost in recent years. And, I understand as well, it's a bit of a changing of the times as well, and the different types of fights. But what we're facing right now with the federal government, our government's not listening to us. And with the decision with redfish and 4R, with what we just saw with northern cod, it was just a blatant slap in the face to the inshore fishery. And I don't think letters and petitions and asking nicely is working. We're not seeing the results. So, maybe we don't just need boots on the hill here. We need boots on the hill in Ottawa. And we, disrupted a press conference a couple of weeks ago, and that got attention. It got attention from the public, and we saw a lot of public support come out of that. And I think when it comes to the fishing industry, that's been lacking as well, because the public see the protests and they don't really understand the underlying issues and how important it is to the rest of Newfoundland and Labrador. So I think there's an opportunity that we can be a little bit louder and we can be a little bit more present. And to call it militant is probably, I would say that. I think we need to step outside the boardrooms a lot more, and we need to get our faces out there and let government know that we're serious, we're not going away, and there's only so much time you can spend asking for things nicely.
At the Gander Public Library, staff noticed many people were coming in looking for ways to help family members with Alzheimer's and dementia. So the staff created a new resource that you can check out with a library card. It's called Memory Care Kits, and we stopped by the library to see what's inside.
The kits are compiled of many things for not only the person with Alzheimer's or dementia, but also the caregiver. It could be puzzles, coloring sheets, playing cards. A lot of people with dementia will pick and twist and turn. So we had memory lap quilts done. Even little things to keep them occupied, to keep their mind stimulated is very important. Then for their entertainment, there's a DVD, music. And then for the caregiver, there's information on how to help them cope, how to best care for the patient with dementia or Alzheimer's. And it's all tucked away in a nice little bag. The contents of the bag is all on the tag, so there's no worries about missing things when you return them. And there's also a little packet in there for you to keep. It means a lot on a personal and a professional level. We have family members who have suffered with dementia and Alzheimer's, and it is hard. It's a labor of love for us. We wanted to have this in our collection because so many people in the community come in and they're at their wits' end trying to find something for their family member to do, and it helps them to know that there are resources out there.
As we heard earlier, one of the wildfires that's been threatening Jasper, Alberta all week has swept through the historic town. The damage is significant and the firefighting efforts continue. The CBC's Travis McEwen has the latest.
The aftermath of the wildfire in the town of Jasper is shocking for many. Just the base of homes and rubble remaining. Alberta's premier estimates potentially 30 to 50% structural damage, the majority of it in the southwest section of the town. Video shows areas of the east part of the town still standing, but Parks Canada and the town's mayor are still not confirming what's burned and how much.
Appreciate people see that as a frustration, but we need the information before we can share it, and we fully appreciate that those on the ground have a challenging job at their hands right now, still fighting the fire and protecting some of the homes that still are standing.
And so although those of us who experience Jasper as visitors can't imagine what it feels like to be a Jasperite right now, we share this sense of loss with all of those who live in the town, who care for it, and who have helped build it.
The fire threatened Jasper since Monday night when close to 25,000 people had to evacuate the town.
You can't control Mother Nature.
Evacuees like Darlene Skihill are stressed, wondering if her home is still standing. She's expecting the worst.
Last night it was inevitable from the few pictures we saw on phones and everything. And going to bed last night, it was like thinking that everything will be gone by morning.
Meanwhile, Ian Sheldon and his family are holding out in Hinton. He and his wife own a business in Jasper and were in the process of selling their home. Sheldon is hopeful they may still be untouched.
Hoping that that home is still standing, and we're in the middle of selling it so that the new owners still get to move into their beautiful home, and then we still have a business downtown. And for the sake of town and everybody, I just hope downtown is still there, and that there's still homes that people can live in.
Meanwhile, Jasper evacuees will continue to stay in the community next door in Hinton, where they say they've been treated like family. Travis McEwen, CBC News, Hinton.
There are also more than 400 wildfires burning in British Columbia, and more evacuation orders are being issued. An order was issued last night for part of the regional district of Central Kootenay, including Duncan Island and Glacier Creek Regional Park. That's due to the Glacier Creek fire burning in the southeastern corner of the province, and an evacuation order has come down for the entire village of Silverton. The Alwyn Creek fire is now threatening the safety of that community, and in the central interior, new evacuation orders have been issued for parts of the Caribou Regional District. The Canadian women's soccer team scored a 2-1 win over New Zealand today in their opening match at Paris 2024. It comes amid a cheating scandal that resulted in 2 members of Canada's coaching staff being sent home yesterday. New Zealand scored first, but Canada soon tied it up. Canada scored the game winner in the second half. Head coach Bev Priestman volunteered to sit out today's match in the wake of the controversy, and acting coach Andy Spence stepped in. New Zealand complained to the IOC that drones were flown over 2 of the team's practice sessions. Assistant coach Jasmine Mander and analyst Joseph Lombardi were sent home immediately by the Canadian Olympic Committee. Several investigations are underway. Time for a look at the long-range forecast. That means we get to look ahead to the weekend. So how is the weekend looking?
It looks pretty decent. Once we get Saturday morning out of the way, let's just take a look right at what's going to happen. So as we head into Saturday morning, we're going to see those showers linger for at least the first little bit anyway, for along the northeast coast as well as the Avalon. along with some cloud cover. But that should clear out and it should turn into a pretty decent day for most of us. Maybe some high cloud moving in again, but for the most part, it's going to be beautiful. Labrador, different story. Some showers will roll through again for you into the afternoon and continue to head towards the coast as we get into the evening hours. Now, that's just the chance because most of the day should be sunny across the big land rather, and temperatures will be into the 20s as well. Different story for the northern portion of Labrador. You're going to still be sitting in the teens, and then a little bit of a cool down as well across the island. So temperatures warmer than Friday, but cooler than what we've been seeing into the 20s, low 20s for the most part. And St. John's, we should hover around 19 degrees. We may see temperatures creep up a little warmer than that for other parts of the Avalon, but at this point, that's what it's looking like. As we head into Sunday, again, another pretty decent day. Chance of a few showers rolling through in the morning, but I think that's very slight chance. Labrador, you are looking at some showers moving through as well into the afternoon on Sunday. But temperature-wise, we are going to start to get into some of that heat yet again. Mid to upper 20s right across the board. A little humid as well. And up across Labrador, you're looking at temperatures topping potentially 30 degrees in Lab West. And cooler, though, again, for the northern portion of Labrador as you hover around 18 degrees. Long-range forecast looks pretty decent to start next week. Sunshine and temperatures in the mid to upper 20s. Beautiful overnight lows as well, anywhere from 17 to 19 degrees. Now, for central Newfoundland, you're looking at temperatures a tad warmer than that. We could be cracking the 30-degree mark. Western Newfoundland, close to the mid to upper 20s. And then for eastern Labrador, you're looking at your temperatures hitting the 30-degree mark by the time we get into Monday, hanging on to those really warm temperatures overnight as well. 20 to 22 degrees certainly possible. And then for western Labrador, some shower activity for Sunday, potentially on Tuesday as well, which will be nice with these warm temperatures. However, you're going to be sitting somewhere between 27 to 31 degrees. Our photo today, fog has been the story for a little bit, at least towards the coast. This is a great shot of a sunny morning, though, in Bain Harbor. Thank you to Mike for that shot. You have any weather photos you'd like to share with us, you can do that by sending it to Facebook or email to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, the fog can be so pretty sometimes.
It certainly can.
Now, before we finish up, we just have a programming note for you. The Olympic Games officially begin tomorrow, and so too does CBC's coverage. You can tune into the Olympic opening ceremony beginning tomorrow at 2:30 Newfoundland time, 2 o'clock in most of Labrador. The ceremony will run for a few hours, so we will be back with Here and Now tomorrow as soon as that ceremony is finished. Now, our Olympic coverage will also make for some changes to our newscast. So beginning on Monday, we'll have half-hour episodes of Here and Now starting at 7:30 Island time, and that'll be the case throughout the Olympics from July 29th to August 9th. Yeah, all right. Well, that's it for us tonight. Hope you enjoy the beautiful weather out there. A nice stretch of weather coming next week. Forest fire risk high. Keep that in mind. But that's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good night.